Hello, everyone. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Romina. Some of you might already know me. It's so good to see you. I hope you had good holidays because after the session that we had in spring, this is the first session that we're having during this academic year. So I'm looking at the chat now. I see lots of people already saying good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Where are you writing from today? As you might know, I live close to Milan. So I am in a very, very gray Milan now and rainy. I hope some of you will write from other sunnier regions. Before welcoming our speaker today, oh wow, okay, so many cities I see. I think I can see the comments a little bit later, so I'm giving some seconds for everyone to type. Okay, so before welcoming the speaker, near Milan too, I see. I'm sorry, it's very rainy, very, very rainy today. So before welcoming the speaker, I was saying I would like just to remind you of little technical details. So I'm Romina, I work for Macmillan Education, and this is Macmillan Education Time. That's the first session of the ones that we are going to have in this period before Christmas. And at the end of the session, I'm going to remind you of the second one that we are going to have. This time, we did a little bit, a sort of a program related to one single topic, which is AI. So today, it's going to be the first session about how to use AI in the classroom. And we're going to have another session in November, on the 24th of November, related to this topic. As I was saying, very small and little technical details. You're going to find your certificate in the attestati section of your account on mondadorieducation.it. And also this webinar will be registered and will be present on the Mondadori Education playlist. So you are going to have a look at it if you want. You can have a look at it even later. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker of today, Andrew. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Speaking to you from rainy Verona.
Rainy Verona. So rainy Milan,
Yes,
rainy Verona.
it
Today,
is.
we can't escape.
It's
From
raining up
rain.
north.
So Andrew Howarth, you might already know him. He's very present in the state school market, and he's done lots of other webinars with us. So, and he's very expert with the technology, interactive stuff, and also, I'm sure that you'll be enjoying this session on AI as well. So. Don't make that face, Andrew.
I'm very humble.
I'm sure you are. And so I'll always be here. You won't see me, but I will be present. So I'll be having a look at the comments. And also, if you need my help with anything, I'll be here. So thank you very much. And you can start, Andrew. I'll be here and see you at the end.
Absolutely. Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much, Romina. Thank you, Macmillan, for inviting me back once again. Must be doing something right to get another chance to come and talk to you all today. Just a little bit about myself. So I'm a freelance educational specialist working in English language. I work in state schools, universities, and do some work as well in the private sector. And of late, I suppose in the last few years or so, I have kind of found myself more and more involved in digital education, and especially more recently, AI. So today, yes, definitely the theme is AI in middle schools. Now, we're going to look at various things this afternoon. We've only got an hour, but we'll try to get through it all. We're going to have a look at the current digital landscape, so the situation we find ourselves in. We're going to have another look at digital assistants. They're the things that we use to help us prepare our lessons and generate resources and things. We're also going to have a look at some new and improved digital tools that I've been experimenting with over the last few months, and also lots and lots of classroom ideas for you to hopefully take away and try out in your own teaching environments. Now, not everything I do will be for everyone. There's different levels of competence here, but hopefully you'll all find something that will be applicable in your situation. Now, first of all, before we start, I'm just going to take you back 12 months. Now, this was the last time me and Romina were talking about AI, and we actually did a webinar called Using AI to Supercharge English Certification Success. And so this was October 2024. And this is what I was saying about AI 12 months on. So that would be referring back to October 2023. I think really since last September, there's been a real explosion. Since the kind of launch of ChatGPT, there's been a lot of interest and a lot of fast progress in the field of AI. So yes, that was the key thing, wasn't it? It was the explosion of AI, basically from the public launch of ChatGPT. And since I made that webinar, it's got even more explosive, let's say. Now, I'd like to know a little bit about you and your experience with technology, with digital, with AI. How would you describe the current digital landscape for you? So I'm going to ask you just to put a few words in the chat to describe how you're feeling. And just to help you with that, I've put 3 categories. So positive comments, some factual comments like fast changing, and maybe some negative comments like a bit overwhelming, too much information, etc. Okay, so I want you just to spend 30 seconds or so, have a think about you and digital and your situation and how you're finding it at the moment. You can see Tiziana's first to jump in there. Too much confusion, yes. And which way to go? It's all kind of going in different directions. Absolutely. Is it the holy grail that educators thought it was? Is it saving you time? Or maybe it's distracting you. Maybe it's taking time. Paola says it's creative, okay, especially the generative tools. And we'll be looking at images and audio and text creation a little bit later. Yeah, Elvira says it could be distracting. Very easy to get distracted when you go to do one thing and you find yourself using another tool and going off in a completely different direction. Useful and helpful, but a lot of people can't quite catch up with the speed. Yes, me included. And that's one of the reasons that this year I decided to sign up for a master's in digital education at university, just to kind of ground myself a little bit in all of this technology, give myself a bit of a foundation. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. Daniela says it's tiring. Yes, it is. It can be very tiring, all that screen time. Okay, well, carry on writing your comments in there. I'm going to move forward. Now, obviously, with the pace of everything, we need some rules. We need some rules because AI has been left to kind of do its own thing and evolve without too much supervision. And in February this year, the EU or European Parliament came up with some legislation to try and control the use of AI in education. And here in Italy, the government has aligned to those decrees and legislation. And to put it in kind of bullet points for you, what is and what isn't allowed now, the general consensus seems to be that anything that's going to sort of interact with the student's emotions, especially at that difficult development stage of their life, anything that's kind of putting them in a different social standing or tracking them in any way should not be allowed. So those kind of things are banned in education. Teachers must use these tools correctly. They must support what the teacher's doing. They shouldn't take over and replace the teacher in any way. Everybody needs to know where AI is being used in education, and you'll see as well during this presentation I have highlighted where I've got images from, what tools I'm using to do certain things in the hope that everything's transparent to you. AI literacy, following on from digital literacies that we've been putting into our syllabus for the last few years, it's become more and more important now. Parental consent for under 14s, and also some kind of documentation to what a school uses AI for. So just a little note there for those of you who weren't aware of the decree, or if you want to find out more, please do look it up. Okay, now this may not come as a surprise to many of you, but Gloria Mark, who's a professor of informatics at the University of California, says that researchers have found conclusive evidence that over the past couple of decades, people's attention spans have shrunk considerably. Now, not just young people, I think this is everyone. And if you want to read more about this, please do research this article. Have a look and read this very interesting article. But it basically says that because we are bombarded by information nowadays from all angles, it's very difficult to concentrate on something for too long without being distracted. So this is a phenomenon that affects us all. And I had to have a little giggle really, because I found a digital tool that kind of solves this problem. Now, this is digital tool number one called Kuzo. And now Kuzo basically takes a lot of information and kind of breaks it down into manageable chunks. Now, remember that little clip I showed you before of me and Romina talking about the explosion of AI? Well, that comes from a longer webinar, which lasts for an hour, which you can find on Macmillan's channel on YouTube. But by just posting the link into this app, I managed to break it down into lots of smaller videos. You see, each one between half a minute and a minute long. Okay, each one's got a title. The interesting thing is as well is that this tool will remove silent parts. It will remove filler words for you. It just kind of summarizes everything nicely. Here's another example of what it did. This is another clip from the same webinar. Another interesting thing that ChatGPT can do, apart from generate past papers and lesson plans, is it can provide motivational quotes. And I asked ChatGPT to make a quote to describe its role as an AI tutor assistant in education. And this is what it said. AI assistants empower students and teachers to reach new heights, transforming challenges into opportunities by providing personalized support, fostering creativity, and making learning accessible to everyone. There you go. So ChatGPT really does give itself a bit of elevation there in its role that it plays in education. Not quite sure I agree with all of that, but you can see as well how those subtitles were automatically generated. So this is a tool that you can use if you haven't got much time, you want to keep on top of your professional development and you found some great teacher training webinars and maybe you can't watch all of them, use this tool and it will break it down into bite-sized chunks for you as well. Possibly useful in the classroom as well if you want to show the highlights of a longer clip to your students without taking up too much lesson time. Now, speaking of ChatGPT and other large language models, as they're called, LLMs, or as I call them, AI assistants, there have been certain improvements over the last 8 months or so. Now, I'm going to focus mainly on the top 4, which are ChatGPT and its kind of partner programs like Sora, Dall'idea, Gemini, which is Google's AI assistant, Claude by Anthropic, which is more for kind of academics, but very, very interesting, and Copilot, which sort of moderates the Microsoft tools. Now, most of those tools have been kind of updated regularly with these 5 important tools for educators. I think there's so many more functions that these things have, but these are the things that I'm using them for. Okay, and we're going to look at some of these features today, and those that we don't get to, we're going to have a look at in part 2 of this series, which will be on the 24th of November. So first of all, we're going to look at voice mode and long-term memory. Now, ChatGPT is my kind of go-to AI assistant. I think a lot of people use ChatGPT as their standard AI tool. I did some teacher training recently in the north of Italy, and I'd say 80% of the teachers who used AI used ChatGPT. Now, about 8 months ago, I was doing some work on ChatGPT and I realized that you could train it. And so I began to kind of instruct it on the outputs I wanted, the results I want, what kind of teacher I was, who I was teaching, what I was teaching, the levels, etc. And ChatGPT could remember what I was telling it. It has upgraded its memory bank now. And then another thing I found was there was this little black icon next to where you write your prompt. And I clicked it and I entered into voice mode, which is an interactive way of talking to ChatGPT. And I have to say, it was very realistic. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, look, if you were a human, what would you look like and what will you sound like? And well, I'll let ChatGPT introduce itself to you.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is ChatGPT, but you can call me Ashley. I understand we're here together today to explore some practical uses of AI, and I want to make sure I say everything clearly. So I'll take my time and speak nice and slowly, so it's easy to follow along. Andy's taught me how to speak more assertively, like this. My name is Ashley, and I'm here to get things done. And he's also taught me how to be more calm and relaxed, like, hi, I'm Ashley. If you just want to put your feet up, I'll make sure the lesson's planned for tomorrow. And of course, he's even trying to teach me to sing. So la 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 la. Anyway, that's me. My name's Ashley, and I'll speak to you soon.
There we go. So ever since that day, I find it difficult to look at ChatGPT in any other eyes apart from this version. And as for the singing lessons, well, they're not going very well. But she's very helpful in lots of other ways, especially with generating content for me. Now, how do these AI assistants help us? Be it Claude, be it Copilot, be it Gemini. What is actually happening behind the scenes? Well, let me get Ashley first to explain her point of view.
Okay, now that the spotlight's off Ashley for a second, let me tell you what's really going on here. Basically, what I do is pretty simple. You give me your ideas, and I give them back to you a little clearer, a little more polished, or just in a way that helps you out. We basically work together like a back and forth team. You bring your thoughts, I reflect them back in a helpful way, and that's how we keep developing ideas together. So really, I'm just here to make comms a bit easier and more fun for you.
So it kind of works like an echo system. You bring your ideas, you do the thinking, and ChatGPT will take that, refine it, reorganize it, improve it. If you've got questions, it will explain and answer them. And if you have an original idea, it can expand on that idea for you. Okay, so it always needs prompting. It always needs, you always need to explain what it is you're aiming to do. And as our digital literacies need to improve with this technology, so does our way of thinking. Okay, we can't just rely on AI to do everything for us. We need to have a clear idea of what it is that we actually want to do. And then we need to use AI to somehow leverage that to help us, but not to do everything for us. So you're here because you want some ideas, yeah? You want me to give you a few ideas of things that you can do in class with AI. Now, first thing is, when I go into class, I don't like using digital tools. I like to try and keep the 60 minutes or the 50 minutes that I have with my students as communicative as possible. I don't want to see heads looking at screens. I don't want to lose that opportunity to be able to interact with each other. So most of the things that I'll show you today are tools that will help you either before or after the lesson, and not necessarily during the lesson. Okay, they might give you an idea or content to use in the lesson, but not necessarily in a digital form. Now, here is a double page spread. So let's imagine that this is my next lesson in class. I'm on page 46 of the volume 2 of my book. So this is a second year class. Okay, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, this looks a bit dry. How can I make this lesson a bit more interesting? Well, I developed a prompt for ChatGPT to give me some ideas. Okay, now the way that I teach is I think of the lesson as a 3-part sequence. So I have the pre-lesson, the main event, and then the post lesson. Okay, people have different names for these stages, but basically there's a preparation stage, there's the actual activity, and then there's the consolidation that follows after it. So with that in mind, I created a prompt for ChatGPT. And don't worry about trying to write all of this down. You can either do take a photo of the screen or come back and watch the recording of this video again. But I have basically a Word file where all of the prompts that I write that work, I copy and keep them. So next time I want to do anything similar, I just need to bring out that prompt, maybe adapt it a little bit, and then I'm ready to go. So it speeds up the process a lot. So basically what I wanted ChatGPT to do for me here was look at that double page spread. Okay, I explained who I was, what role I wanted ChatGPT to play, what level my students were. Okay, and I asked it to look at the page and divide the activities into 3 different classifications. The first one, activities that can be used before the class, so either in a flipped class or maybe homework that precedes the following lesson. Okay, now these are all activities that students should be able to do autonomously or without a teacher. The second part, I asked it to give me 20 in-class communicative activities based on these exercises that I could do with my students to make an engaging lesson and to get their attention. And the third was basically homework or consolidation, etc. And this is what it gave me. Now, before I show you the results, just a quick disclaimer. Now, I took a photograph of the double page spread, or a screenshot. Now that particular function in ChatGPT is available if you have a paid subscription. Some other AI bots, I think Copilot does it for free. So I just wanted to tell you that I pay for my monthly subscription because for me it's worth it. The amount of time it saves me, but that is a personal choice. So I took the photo, put it into ChatGPT, and this is some of the output. Now these are the pre and post class activities. You can see here that it's linked the exercise number to the activity. It's providing me instructions for the student, both in the pre and the post class extensions there. Okay, so that for me is just copy and paste or print and give to my students. That's the flipped classroom and the homework taken care of. Then we come to the lesson, and here I have 20 different activities based on the content of my book. Okay, so everything from debates to simple grammar speed quizzes, find someone who, past verb charades, all kinds of different activities. Obviously far too many to use in my 50 or 60-minute lesson, but certainly a great starting point. I choose 5 or 6 of these and I already have my lesson done. Okay, I know that it's linked to the book, so I know I'm following the syllabus, but I'm having a communicative lesson. My students are involved and having fun at the same time. So that's one of the most common uses of ChatGPT I have. Now, we're going to move on to some generative work here. So image generation, some audio and text and things like that. Again, referring back to recent laws and without going into too much detail, because you can read up on this yourself. Just a couple of guidelines or good practices for teachers when you are doing this. Okay, make sure that everybody's aware that you're using these tools. So just a little note at the bottom of a worksheet or something like that. Again, stay away from kind of realistic images. I was working with a teacher the other day who was trying to generate an image of the current US president, and it wouldn't allow it. Privacy laws stopped it. They intervened. But yeah, common sense as well. You might find sometimes it's possible, but try and stay away from any kind of reality. Make everything clearly fictional. Okay, and also you can use these examples as training to your students. You make them aware of what's possible, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So good practices all towards AI literacy. All right, now here's a quick activity, and as I say, I'm going to go fairly quickly through these, so without the whole technical explanation, please do come back and watch it again, but just to give you an idea of what I'm currently doing. So here's an activity from the book. Basically, we read these descriptions of sports people, identify what the words are in bold, and then we move on. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if you could turn this into a kind of listening activity as well? So what I did with this particular exercise was from my e-text, so that's the digital version that I have on the screen. I copied the text and went to a site called Narrakeet. Now, Narrakeet is text-to-speech creation. It does other things as well, such as turn your PowerPoint into a video lesson, but I'm not going to talk about that now because I don't want to confuse you anymore with all of this knowledge. So basically, I copied and pasted the text. I chose an accent, male or female as well, and then downloaded it. Now that was free, and I think I had, there we go, I think 20, I can create 20 different listenings free of charge before I'm asked to pay anything. There are other text to audio tools, which I'll mention a bit later on, but this one very easy to use and a lovely range of accents as well. And so the activity for my students is listen Try to identify which text is being read and have a guess what the accent is.
Do you support a team in the World Cup? It's an important football tournament. In 2018 it took place in Russia. In the final game, France beat Croatia 4-2 and won the trophy. Croatia lost the final, but they won the silver medal.
There we go. So any ideas in the chat there, you can put if you think that's an English, Scottish, Irish or Welsh accent. Have a little guess. Sometimes difficult to tell the difference. In the meantime, I'll tell you what, I'll play you another one. Let's have this one.
Chloe Kim regularly works out and trains hard on her snowboard. When she was just 17, she scored 100 points, the perfect score, at the X Games, a popular sports event.
There we go. And for those of you who didn't know, the first one was actually a Welsh accent, and the second was a Scottish accent. So exposure to accents, using AI to create different accents in class, so your students not only hear your accent, but also a variation. Now, a sort of similar idea, okay, this time I've blanked out the text, okay, and I've put lots of words up there. You remember those words that were highlighted there, okay, so I've added those words here, but I've added some extra ones as well. And the activity this time is my students listen and tick the words that they hear. Now, obviously, there's more words than they will hear. Okay, so that's the way it's designed. But this time, to do the audio, I used a tool called Veed. Now, Veed allows me to copy the text into the box and create a talking head or an avatar. So have a look at this.
Isaac Jean-Paul is a Paralympic athlete. In 2017, he broke the high jump world record and set a new record of 2.17 meters. Do you know who holds the record today? Chloe Kim regularly works out and trains hard on her snowboard. When she was just 17, she scored 100 points, the perfect score, at the X Games, a popular sports event. Rachel Atherton has got lots of medals for mountain biking. She is a world champion. In 2018, she won the Mountain Bike World Championship for the 5th time. Do you support a team in the World Cup? It's an important football tournament. In 2018, it took place in Russia. In the final game, France beat Croatia 4-2 and won the trophy. Croatia lost the final, but they won the silver medal.
There we go. Pretty realistic, I would say. I disagree with the way that she pronounced trophy. However, apart from that, very good. So I'd probably play that 2 or 3 times for my students to try and see how many they got right and get them to check it against the text when they open their book to the right page. Now, here's another thing for you. In the starter unit of volume 2 of Upskill is this board game. Now, I don't know about you, but I love the idea of board games, but I find them a little bit difficult to manage in class. Okay, first of all, you need the dice, then you need to put people in pairs, and then sometimes people finish before others. So yes, although it looks nice, maybe in a large class, sometimes difficult to manage. So I decided I would transform this activity. Again, using my friend Ashley from ChatGPT, I took a picture of this and asked Ashley to convert the same content into a different format. Okay. So the output I wanted, or the format I wanted, okay, was a list of short answer sentence stems, okay, which students can finish by adding their own details. Now, remember, the idea of this particular activity in the book is like a refresher, a welcome back to school after the summer break. So it's all about kind of remembering what you'd learned before, and also maybe introducing yourself again to new classmates, personal interest topics and things like that. So the output I got from that particular prompt was this. Okay, so you'll find that it's got pretty much the same content as the board game, except now it's an activity for my students to complete. So the idea is that they go through this maybe on their own or before class and complete it. And you might get something like this. This is my example. Sofia Bianchi from Foligno in Umbria. So if anyone is from Foligno here today, hello, this is for you. Now, the idea then, once my students have filled in this, I've got two options. The first option is more kind of traditional, really. We go back to that communicative approach here. My worksheet, which was produced in the same prompt by ChatGPT, gives me the instructions both for the teacher and also the student. So I just cut that part off there because the students don't need to read that. And basically they have to go around and find someone who has the same favorite number as them, has the same favorite subject. And also we've got it well scaffolded with the question to ask. Okay, now maybe you're more advanced students, you might want to omit that bit of help, or you might just want to give it to certain students who may need it. The idea is that they go around, fill it in, try and get a different name from each line. So I thought that's a nice idea, nice and simple, gets people talking, it's more social. But then I had another idea of taking the same information but going back to ChatGPT and asking it to turn this into a song. Okay, turn it into a song about that student. Okay, so this is the prompt I use, and again I've saved this prompt in my Word file to use for next time. But basically what ChatGPT did was produce song lyrics and all of the instructions necessary for me to produce a song. Now, the tool I used for this is a tool called 11 Labs Music. And again, it's free. Okay, you just have to have ChatGPT create the prompt. Okay, use this to create up this prompt, and then you copy and paste that into 11 Labs. Now, let me show you what happened. So first of all, I also got ChatGPT to generate, Gemini, which is another AI assistant, to generate a picture based on the lyrics. And just to remind you, there are the lyrics. Okay. And I thought, right, okay, so what's the activity? I play the song. The students have to listen to the words and maybe circle on the picture the parts when they hear them. Okay, so have a listen to the song. I think it's quite good. I have two daughters, 9 and 12, and I played them this song and they quite enjoyed it. So this is called My Little World.
Walking to school, I know this well. My backpack's light, but my dreams are wide. I keep the sky right by my side. This is my little world, where the cats sleep on the wall, where I draw stars on my notebook, and I want to see them all. I've got my friends, my laughter too, and maybe one day I'll see Japan with you.
Now, much as I'd love to play you the whole song, we haven't got time today, but you'll be able to find it. We share the slides afterwards. Okay, now imagine if everyone in your class had their own personal song. How cool that would be. And everybody could swap these images and challenge each other to find the images based on what they heard in the song. Okay, off we go again. Now this particular activity is quite common. Okay, here we go with parts of the body. We're in Unit 2, vocabulary. Describe the picture. Okay, now this is interesting because what's happening now is that we're moving from describing a picture to actually creating a prompt. Now, creating a prompt is an AI literacy. It's going to be a skill that our students will need in the future as they get older in order to operate and interact well with AI. And this is a nice little introduction activity. So basically, I've added instructions to this particular task. Task number 4, describe the picture. Okay, I'm asking my students to answer these questions, okay, in order to build sentences. So how many eyes has it got? It has got 4 eyes. How many arms has it got? It has got 4 arms, etc. Now, what the activity is that students sit down in pairs and try to write the prompt that will create this particular image. Now, the control factor here is the teacher is in class. Okay, so the students are working with pen and paper, and when they feel that they're ready and they've got their prompt, the teacher will put it into the AI image generator, be it Gemini, be it ChatGPT, Deep AI, whatever you're using, to generate a picture, and the students then vote for the image closest to the original. Now, this trick here is in the detail. Okay, now this is one of my students' prompts. The creature has got eyes, it has got long arms, it has got pink hair. The creature is blue and green. In the background there are yellow dots. The creature looks happy and funny, and that is the image that ChatGPT created based on that. Now we can improve that a little bit by adding some more adjectives, for example, or extra information. So now we'll try the creature has got 8 eyes, 4 arms, light green and dark green. Okay, let's see what image that creates. A little bit better. Yes, okay. The background's certainly an improvement. The colors are definitely there. More arms. The eyes aren't quite right yet. So another couple have tried to make that even better. Okay. Let's see what the result is there. Okay, we've got the teeth right now. 2 teeth. All right, hasn't got any legs, so we've managed to go back to that. So let's look at the original picture again. There we are. How close are we? Relatively close, not a bad effort. And again, for an extra task, maybe we can kind of list the differences between the monster that we've created and the original monster as well. Okay, now here's another image task, again, along the same kind of lines for prompt writing. What I want you to do, and you can join in with this, okay, is just look at these 3 images and decide which one, I don't know, which one attracts you the most. And I just want you to try and write maybe some of the prompt that was used to create that image. Okay, so maybe you're choosing the middle one. How would you describe that? Not the full prompt, just write maybe a couple of words in the chat, or the 3rd image, for example. How do you think the description of that image was? Keep it nice and basic. Okay, look at the key elements of that. I think of what kind of words, what kind of adjectives would the image generator need to create those particular images. Well, have a look at what you've written and compare it to the actual prompts. Okay, so here we've got a robot in a kitchen, tomatoes, cheese, other robots, the second image, we've got a tiger and a chicken sleeping together in a park, trees in the background. And the last image, we have a man riding a hippo in the middle of the road with 2 police cars behind him. The man looks very serious. The trees are green and it's daytime. So how can I turn this into a suitable activity for my second year media class? Well, first of all, I can select some random images. Now, I don't need AI to do this, really. I could just take 3 images from my book. However, AI does seem to have a vivid imagination. So put them on my limb or lavagna interattiva or my whiteboard, or if I wanted to, I could print them or cut them out of magazines, distribute them, give 1 image to each pair of students and have them give the image a title and also 5 sentences to describe what they see or describe the prompt that would create it. Now, the second step, and I used ChatGPT to help me with this, is just to have a few questions about each image. So questions that might make our students think a little bit. What is the tiger doing? Where are they? Where is the man going on the hippo? Etc. So now my students have got their image, their description, the title they've decided for the image, and hopefully some short answers for these questions. Okay. My students then simply present their image back to the class, and there you have a very, very simple communicative activity, very well scaffolded. All of the language that they need is in front of them. Great speaking practice. Okay, so I've got the description that they've written, the answers to their questions, plus the title. Now, we can also flip this. We could do it for homework. For those of you who use Google Classroom, for example, you could do a very, very simple slide. Okay, 2 images to choose from. Okay, some very simple instructions. There are the questions. Okay, bring your work to class and you will present your picture and share your ideas with your partner. Okay, so my students are going to do this at home before they come in, and then maybe partner up with another student doing the same thing or looking at the same picture, working as a team. Now, one thing I used AI for was to give clear instructions to my students on how to do this. And I thought, how about giving them a video example? So for this particular example, I used a tool called Hey Gen. Okay, now Hey Gen is similar to Veed. You just paste in your text, choose the person you want to say the words, but you can also choose the accent as well this time. And I thought I would choose an Italian speaking English, and this is what I got.
A robot is cooking in a modern kitchen. It is making food in a pan. There are tomatoes and cheese on the table. The kitchen looks clean and full of lights. Other robots are also cooking in the background. I think the robots are cooking for people who are busy and don't have time. Maybe they are making pasta with tomato sauce because it's easy and Italian. I think robots will cook in the future. Robots can help in restaurants and the room. I would like a robot to cook for me because I don't like cooking and it would be fast. But maybe the food is not as good as my mum's.
Mums, I think that should be. Mummies, yes. Okay. All right, very interesting touch. But so those of you who don't necessarily like being on camera, or you don't like recording yourself, or simply don't want to, these are tools now where you can provide your students with an example of what you want the task to do. And again, Hey Gen will allow you to do this free of charge. Okay, so go and have a play, see what you can generate. Very, very user-friendly, very easy to understand. Okay, now going back to text to audio, I'm going to show you another quick tool. I'm kind of aware of the time. We've only got 10 minutes, so I'm going to try and pack it in now with as much as I've got. Here, my textbook gives me the instructions of look at this photo. It tries to elicit some words on sport. Okay, and then if I went down below this number 3 here, you would see a gap fill activity where my students add these words to complete the text. But I thought my more advanced students might want to do something a little bit more challenging. So I would get them to create the dialogue or create their own dialogue using some of these key phrases. And then I thought, well, I've got this dialogue. It would be a shame if I couldn't use it further. So I found another tool, another one. I know it's too many, but here's another one. Yes, this one is called Note GPT. So not Chat GPT. This one's called Note GPT, and it's quite an interesting tool. You'll find it online, and it's got lots and lots of features. And one of the features is what's called a podcast generator. Again, very simple to use. You basically just paste your dialogue directly from here to here. Okay, make sure that you've got this AI script button off because you don't want it changing your script. You choose the speakers, the boy and the girl. You can also change the accents here, depending. You want British English, you want international English, Australian, Indian, whatever you like. And then hit generate, and this is the outcome.
Hi, do you like sports?
Yes, I do. I really like basketball. What about you?
I prefer football. Did you see the match last night?
No, I didn't. Was it good?
Yes, it was great. Our team played really well.
I don't think football is very exciting. If you ask me, basketball is faster.
You've got a point, but football is more popular.
Yes, I think you're right about that.
The boy seemed a bit sure of himself, didn't he? Anyway, I'm not sure if that girl's accent was a bit American English, a bit British English. It kind of changed halfway through. All right, now my last demonstration, and you may accuse me of having too much time on my hands sometimes, but I thought I would finish with an experiment that I've been doing. Okay, so this is called bringing a page to life, and I used various different tools for this, and I've listed them here, and I'm just going to step by step explain to you what I did. Okay, now I'm not expecting you to do this in class because you know it maybe doesn't have a lot of use in your particular situation, but maybe there's some elements of what I did here that you'll enjoy. So unit 7 has this nice kind of simplified article, a newspaper article about a more serious matters of the floods that we recently had in Texas. Okay, now this is a reading exercise. There's some nice images there as well. However, I thought, how can I bring this off the page a bit? How can I make this a little bit more engaging for my students? So what I decided to do was, first of all, I decided to take these images here and just do a little screenshot and put them into ChatGPT's image generator, which is called Sora. Okay, and again, you may not be able to access Sora unless you have ChatGPT Plus, but you can do this with other image to video generation sites as well. So what I did is I took the 3 photographs, put them into Sora, and asked it to animate them Okay, I also used part of the text from here as well in my prompt to kind of help the AI understand the context of these particular images. And what happened was it animated them, and this is the result. Quite interesting. Okay, and then we got to this one, which created a scene of torrential rain down the streets. But it also made a few mistakes, what they call hallucinations in the AI world. For example, this chap totally changes appearance. I'll just see that again. So that's him at the beginning. So he goes from short trousers to long trousers, different colored t-shirt. Anyway, so I took those 3 images there. I also then decided to go back to Narakit, and I texted the first part of the article, generated a voice, downloaded that voice. And for those of you who know anything about putting a video together, I used something called CapCut. You can use iMovie, whatever you like to use. Put it all together, and this is what I got.
When Storm Harvey came to Texas, it destroyed houses and roads. About 30,000 people left their homes before the storm, but others stayed. They couldn't go outside because the streets were like rivers. In those difficult times, the brave Texan people helped each other, and many ordinary citizens became local heroes. Among them were 4 teenage boys, 17-year-old Thomas Edwards and his friends, Richard, 17, Liam, 17, and his brother Declan, 15.
There we go. So just a little taster. And I say, I'm not suggesting that you do anything of such grand scale in your classrooms, but there might be something interesting there for you to use. For example, image to video, you could say what happens next. So show the still, what do you think is going to happen afterwards, and see if their prediction matches AI's prediction. Okay, now I'm going to go
your local council has
I'm just going to go to the last slide now, because the ones we've actually missed out on, we're going to catch up with on the second webinar, which is on the 24th. But just to quickly recap what we've looked at today, before my time runs out, here are some uses of the technological advances and progress in AI, which are useful in the classroom. Okay, we can now use AI models for spoken models, repetition, creating dialogues. We can create talking heads. We can create image to video, subtitles automatically. And as I said, this little explainer video here, which I've used an example of myself, a video of me, well, it's actually a picture of me at last year's annual Santa Claus run in Verona. I changed my voice to an American accent, and this is what I had.
Your local council has organized a 2-day international educational conference and workshop for teachers and educators of all levels. It has already organized the agenda for the workshops.
And the interesting thing as well is that it actually polishes the video, and it improved my teeth. It kind of straightened my teeth. They're a little bit crooked at the bottom. So thank you for that, AI. All right. So yes, what we're going to try and do is share the slides for today. These are some of the tools that I've used. So you'll be able to go and play with them and have a look. But I think the key takeaway from me working with AI in class or with my English courses is the fact that you need to know what it is you want to do. So in the traditional way, decide what it is you want to do, plan the steps, and then go looking for AI tools that will help you leverage that or make the process more efficient. If you do it any other way, you can lose a lot of time. And also, if you get free access to some of these tools, you can find you burn up those free credits very, very quickly. So before you start experimenting, have a clear idea in your head or on paper what it is you want to do before you start using AI. Okay, there we go. That's me done. I'll hand it back to Romina. I hope everything was clear enough, and I hope I didn't kind of go too fast or too slow. It's difficult to tell. And yeah, a couple of questions, Romina, regarding whether or not we can share the slides, or at least a summary of what I've showed today. I'll be happy to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for that. I was about to ask you if it was okay for you to share the slides, because I saw some comments. And apologies for the beginning, because I was told that my video wasn't really working fine. I hope that now you can see me well. Anyway, thank you, Andrew. It was extremely interesting, and I can see lots of positive comments. I was sure about that. And what I would like to remind everyone is that there's going to be a second session on the 24th of November about AI, and together with Andrew again. So stay tuned, everyone. I'm sorry that today we don't have time for the questions, but we will absolutely have time in the next session. So keep your questions for for November. And I'm already looking forward to it, because there were so many interesting tools that I didn't know about, because as you pointed out at the beginning, I'm one of the people that uses ChatGPT for everything. And so it was very, very nice to have other prompts. And I am once again sorry that we don't have time for questions today, but I would like to thank you, Andrew, once again. I would like to thank you, everyone, for being here today with us. And again, I'm going to remind you that you are going to find your attestati in the specific section on mondadorieducation.it/attestati. So see you in November, and thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you again, Andrew.